This episode of the Managing Madrid podcast is brought to you by the Managing Madrid podcast live in Toronto. We're playing pickup footy on December 6th, raising money for sick kids in Toronto, giving away prizes, and chatting Real Madrid with passionate Madridistas. If you want to come kick it with us, play some footy, all for a good cause, then come out. If you're anywhere near Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara, if you're in Ottawa, Montreal, heck, Moncton, Halifax, Vancouver, Buffalo, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, Philly, drive in, fly in, do whatever you have to do. We look forward to seeing your skills and helping sick kids in Toronto. If you want to RSVP to the event, the link is in the show notes. We'd love to see you there. I'll be there. That's Kiyan Sabani, by the way. Mehdi Hassan will be there. We got Peña Madridista Toronto. We got TAC Academy. And much more, many more. Really fun night in the works. December 6th. Come out if you're in Toronto.
Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid podcast, impromptu episode of the Managing Madrid podcast. This is your host, Kiyan Sabani. I am live right now from an undisclosed airport somewhere on Earth. And let me just give you guys kind of the backdrop of my journey of deciding to do this podcast, which was not planned. Earlier this morning, actually, this started late last night. Last night, there were reports in Spain talking about Rodri's going to win the Ballon d'Or and Vinicius is not going to win it. And I thought nothing of it because I thought, well, that's crazy because Vinicius is the best player in the world. He was the most deserving player in the world. And that has to be a fabricated thing, some last minute clicks, some last minute hysteria. Have fun, enjoy the clicks, bros. And I'll see you tomorrow for Vinny lifting the Ballon d'Or award. And then this morning, you saw those reports kind of heat up a little bit to the point where you saw a bunch of journalists reporting it. I think I saw Jose Felix Diaz report it and Fabrizio reported it. And then my alarm bells just kind of went up. And I had a conversation with Vinicius' agent. And I said, is this true that Rodri's going to win it? And what's going on? And he said, yeah, Rodri's winning it. And Vinicius is not attending. And I was like, wow. So all of a sudden, I was just kind of like, I was at the airport. I was boarding a plane. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And then I had Wi-Fi the entire flight. So I was just kind of checking up on things, doing some work. And then when I landed, I saw these reports of Real Madrid are not attending. And there were reports in us about how Real Madrid feel like slighted by UEFA basically. And I questioned that one, to be honest, because I thought about, well, what does this have to do with UEFA? Because these are the incompetent journalists voting. And in the end, you just have to trust these guys to make the right choice. And there's so many people voting that unfortunately, I don't even know what the solution would be in this situation, because me personally, I don't know who I would necessarily trust to make the right decision, because they made the wrong decision this year. And this is not the first time they've made the wrong decision. They also made the wrong decision last year and plenty of others. But if it were up to me, I'd appoint 5 people who I trust to do it. But of course, the world doesn't work that way. It's just going to be some kind of subjectivity. In this case, it was objectively the incorrect choice. Even though we knew Rodri was going to win, it was surreal when George Weah read his name. You saw Rodri fix his bow tie and walk up to accept the award. It felt surreal to see that happen because he was so not the best player in the world, nor the second, nor the third, nor the fourth, nor the fifth. And I think Rodri is a great player. And I feel bad because this has now become this undermining Rodri thing, which is not the point. The point is, it's not even Rodri's fault. This was a disaster. Now, going back to what I was saying when I read that report in OS, I actually I messaged the club and I said, like, that you guys are not attending. This is verbatim the text I received from my club source. Quote, if the criteria or the award is not fit to proclaim Vinicius as the winner, then it should be Carvajal, who won more titles than anyone and being decisive. Since this is not like that, it's crystal clear that the organizers of the Ballon d'Or and UEFA do not respect Real Madrid. Therefore, we do not go where we are not respected. End quote. So this is Real Madrid's stance. And these are not my words. This is Real Madrid. These are Real Madrid's words. It's very clear as to why they decided not to attend it. Um, and I don't know. I have some conflicting thoughts about their decision not to attend because Vinny didn't win. My initial thought reading that was, okay, there's a difference between UEFA corruption and doing this on purpose, like changing the winner last minute. There's a difference between that and incompetent journalists making the wrong choice. And that's the thing. But I do agree with the logic in that Vinny deserved it. And if it wasn't Vinny, why should it be Rodri? Why should it not be Carvajal, who did win more than anyone? If you go back through Spain's players, the best players in that tournament were Fabian, were Carvajal, were Lamine Yamal, were Nico Williams. I think it's fair to say that Rodri was not Spain's best player. So why is he winning it? Leah brought up this point on Twitter where she said, if we're going based on international awards, like, Fabian, not to like bring Fabian into it too much, but like Fabian also won Ligue 1, he won the Euros and was Spain's best midfielder. Why was he not even in like the top 10? And so, again, I just going back, Rodri is a brilliant player. And I don't want this to turn into this dunk on Rodri fest because it's not really his fault. But to see him accept that award was surreal. And it was just, I kind of decided to jump on this early because when I spoke to the club and I spoke to Vinny's agent, I was like, wow, is this something more than Vinny not winning? And I will say, like, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but I do think it's a little bit fishy that basically the whole order was predicted correctly up until number 1 and 2. And Real Madrid, everyone seemed to have believed that Vinny was the winner. Did something change in the past 24 hours? I can never have definitive proof of that. I don't know. But this award is a bit of a shambles. And that award ceremony, I need to like gouge my eyeballs out. Like I had to do that like multiple times. I really, really felt like doing it because it was so drawn out. It was so boring. It was so awkward. All these UEFA events are just give us the damn list and get it over with. I wanted to hop on live on YouTube like 2 hours ago, but I had to wait just to make sure that this is the final list. My final point would be this. I wonder what effect this actually has on Vinny and the club. Is this somehow a good thing for Real Madrid? Does it give Vinny a chip on his shoulder? Is this the revenge arc? That's what you would hope. That's what you would hope, and that's what you'd be looking at. But yeah, like, thank you. Everything is just kind of fishy behind the scenes, and Real Madrid's stance is that like this was kind of non-football related. And the other thing I didn't mention this is when I kind of explored that to Real Madrid to like tell them this is kind of down to the journalists, is it not? It's not down to UEFA. And the response is kind of like it's more about the criteria, like the fact that the criteria is not clear enough for them to make the right decision, and it's so all over the place is part of the disrespect. What will be interesting is once we get, because usually we get a list after it's done of every journalist and their top three and who they voted for. That'll be eye opening to see. I know that there have been some reports that we're not going to see that list. I think that that will hopefully get leaked at some point, and that will be very eye opening to see. But yeah, shambolic stuff. Shambolic stuff. Also, in the middle of all this, Natalie Portman, fall from grace, is a PSG fan. Heartbreaking. A couple super chats, and I'm going to wrap it up because I got to catch a flight. I'm in the airport. Nishlish Patel, this fires up the squad. Vinny plus Jude plus Rodrigo plus Mbappe plus Lunin plus Carlo plus the rest. Rain held down upon everyone. Winning shit after this will be the tastiest victory ever. Halamarini nada más. That's definitely the glass half full look, Nishlish. We hope so, bro. Ramki says this week is either going to break the team or light a fire. I'm a pessimist, so team, please prove me wrong. Look, I think chip on shoulder is generally a good thing. Real Madrid are at their best when they're underdogs, when they're being overlooked, and when they're favorites, they don't always live up to the billing. So you hope that it has the effect of the revenge arc, the chip on the shoulder, all that stuff. By the way, who was it that was complaining about Real Madrid PR? Show me the Real Madrid PR, guys. Please show me the Real Madrid PR. I wanted to thank all you guys who hopped on and became members the night of the Classico. I know that if you're a new member, it wasn't ideal that your first members only show was the post game Classico, funeral, morgue, the ambiance, but at least I hope it provided some for you guys, and welcome to family listeners. If you were waiting for our post-game Classico podcast, it went up for members. So patreon.com/managing Madrid, or hit the memberships tab on this YouTube channel. What a weird week to be a Real Madrid fan. What a weird week. It's not the worst. I've seen much worse in my past. I guess 27 years I've been following the club. I've seen much worse, but this ranks up there as definitely part of the weirdest. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, in the mid all this, Luis Figo rage tweeting and blocking people on Twitter was the cherry on top to this bizarre week and bizarre day. All right, guys, I'm signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Got to go catch a flight. Hala Madrid. Peace out.